Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Block Thrasher Daily Crypto Update. It's another beautiful, beautiful day here in the beautiful state of Washington, here in the Northwest, just outside Spokane, this little place called Deer Park. It's this very small, cute little town. Really nothing to it. You can blow through it about 3 seconds and you're done. There's a lot of little restaurants, though, and coffee shops. There's a great coffee shop, and it's fun to watch. A bunch of older gentlemen, mostly, from what I can gather, retired military veterans, come every day, every single day, and they sit around in a group of about 8 and just talk stories and talk shop and that sort of thing. And it's fun to watch. All right, let's get on to the cryptocurrency news of the day. Thank you for tuning in. It's always a pleasure to have you. I'm so thankful for each and every one of you who snags the podcast every day or the video off the YouTube channel. Looking at the market, there's a lot of red. It's kind of painful at the moment. And this is a really, really light news day as well. There just isn't much of note going on at the moment that sparked interest that I felt like it would be important to talk about. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the market and prices and what's happening real quickly. We've got one story about Richard Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is someone I've been following for many, many, many years. And so I thought I'd just talk about him for a second, just in case you're unaware of who he is. And then we'll just look at a little bit of some of the crypto terminology. Look at the crypto glossary. What are some of these people suggested a while ago that would do a podcast talking about these words and these terms. And I thought that was a good idea. And we'll do some of that today. I don't know if we'll get through all of it, but maybe some. So anyway, looking at the market cap and the statistics and the prices today, the total global crypto market cap is now $1.91 trillion, down 3.16%. So we saw a bit of a downturn happen here overnight, especially with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin down 3% in the last 24 hours, now $56,923.70. It's down close to 2.5% on the week. So trending in the wrong direction. Also losing dominance. Bitcoin is now at 55.7 in terms of dominance. Gas prices for Ethereum have dropped a bit. They are 187 for standard Gwei. Ethereum, speaking of Ethereum, is $2,014.38 right now. It is also down 4.77%. So we're seeing a lot of red, actually almost across the board, with Theta being the one standout here in the top. Well, that's top 11. Top 10, they're all down for the last 24 hours. Now you can see how the vast majority of altcoins are still up quite nicely for the week. It's just Bitcoin and that is not Bitcoin that has suffered this week, right? Binance coin is currently $387.34, down 2%. XRP is dropping as well. It is at 97 cents. However, XRP has snagged the number 4 spot in terms of total market cap with that huge increase of 73.88%. A little bit of news. There was an SEC hearing yesterday, and Brad Garlinghouse came out, CEO of Ripple, and said that it was a good day. Didn't really elaborate on why. Cardano down 7.22%. Good Cardano buying opportunity here, possibly. $1.21 currently. Polkadot, $40.79, down 7% as well. Uniswap down almost 10% at 9.95% negative in the last 24 hours. It is currently $28.93. Litecoin, $224.83, down 3.85%. Chainlink, $32.45, down 4%. Theta being the standout. Theta pumped a bit here. $12.78 for the Theta token, up 8.43% in the last 24 hours. Looking good there. Stellar's also down 48 cents. Filecoin starting to look a little bit more like the pump and dump. I mean, obviously it had a significant gain. So anybody that was in Filecoin earlier on doing quite well. It is at $144 currently, but down 16.44% in the last 24 hours. That'll cover it for the market today. Let's look at this story from about Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, if you haven't seen any of his books before, there's a whole bunch of books in the Rich Dad, Poor Dad series about investing. And what he's also done is he's written a lot of books himself, but he's also brought in a lot of other experts in certain areas to sort of author books or co-author books with him in the Rich Dad, Poor Dad series. And it's good stuff. It's some contrarian type of information. He's very much about entrepreneurialism. I've read a number of the books and appreciated them, so you might want to check them out. This story talking about what he made a statement on Twitter, which is really the impetus for this little piece here, stating Kiyosaki said, China announcing government crypto today is good news for Bitcoin. Would rather have Bitcoin than government fake surveillance crypto buying more Bitcoin. The article states, people usually buy Bitcoin in hopes that they would be able to sell it to others for higher profits. But for celebrated financial expert like Robert Kiyosaki, Bitcoin is an opportunity to break away from government surveillance, which, as we know, is only partially true. When it comes to Bitcoin, it is traceable. There are things that can be done, such as coin join or purchasing off P2P or these types of things, which obfuscate where the Bitcoin's coming from. However, we are seeing trends moving in the direction toward regulated institutions like Coinbase or others not accepting Bitcoin. That's not traceable. That's gone through a coin join transaction. This is interesting because one of the key principles of Bitcoin is that it's fungible. One Bitcoin is worth as much as another Bitcoin, but we might actually see a situation in which, when it comes to dealing with a centralized exchange or we'll call it a gateway, one of the centralized institutions that allows you to sell your crypto and go into fiat and transfer it into your bank, we might see a situation where a lot of crypto gets rejected, which is sort of, is a little bit concerning and a little bit mind-boggling as well. Because there's this possibility that, regulatory agency might come along and say, well, the Bitcoin that you hold, we've done some chain analysis on it, and at one point in time, it was used for some sort of illegal transaction, money laundering, terrorist transaction, whatever, drug, whatever. And so therefore, that Bitcoin is now subject to civil forfeiture because it was used for some illegal activity. It's crazy. I mean, there needs to be regulation, I think, to prevent against this type of thing, but who knows? We'll see. Bitcoin versus digital yuan battle heats up. In retrospect, digital yuan falls in the category of central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, whose sole purpose is to put a national currency atop a private blockchain ledger. Bitcoin serves in contrast as a decentralized cryptocurrency managed by not one, but hundreds of thousands of entities, aka miners. As usual, no government or central bank gains control over Bitcoin's source code, making it more independent than a regular CBDC. But with China's involvement in the CBDC space, things have become more about gaining virtual control over people's financial lives. In his statements to the Financial Times, a Wall Street banker noted that President Xi Jinping's authoritative regime would use digital yuan or digital renminbi to bring people's everyday transactions under its radar, a thing it is already doing via its strict internet policies. Quote, the digital renminbi is heavily about the Chinese Communist Party's ability to exercise control, also said Samantha Hoffman, senior analyst at the Australian Strategic Policy Institute. Such fears alone have prompted people to opt for Bitcoin. While every transaction on Bitcoin's blockchain is traceable, its backers tend to hide behind gibberish alphanumeric identities, thus gaining a thin layer of security from regulatory watchdogs. Nevertheless, they risk being traced if even one entity in their long chain of Bitcoin transactions reveals itself either by using a wallet that has gone through a know your customer process or just by practicing human negligence. But despite its limitation, Bitcoin appears better than digital yuan to many. And Mr. Robert Kiyosaki is one among them. It's interesting to see people like Kiyosaki, who for the longest time wasn't too keen on Bitcoin. In part because he's a gold bug. He owns gold mining operations and is primarily about real estate. However, of late, warming to Bitcoin, beginning to understand not beginning. I'm sure he always understood the inflationary issues and the issues that the Fed could create with their control over the currency. But previously looking to other assets such as gold and real estate to hedge against those concerns. Now, though, warming to Bitcoin, talking about it more and more frequently. Still, I can tell when I listen to his podcast, still struggling with some of the concepts and playing devil's advocate at times, which is not bad. Not bad. But definitely on board. Shark Tank investor and software entrepreneur Kevin O'Leary also said in an interview with CNBC that he would rather buy Bitcoin than China's blood money, quote, blood money, citing carbon issues related to the cryptocurrency mining process in the country. Many also see Bitcoin as a de facto Chinese currency. More than 65% of the cryptocurrency's mining pools companies operate from China, according to Statista, giving the Jinping regime unprecedented and potential access to its supply to the rest of the world. So this is a little bit of a concern. This is the reason why we need to bring more of the mining here to the U.S. All right, moving on to some cryptocurrency terminology. Let's take a look. 51% attack. 51% attack is something that you will often hear. We'll hear it talked about. Now, this is only a concern with proof of work cryptos like Bitcoin and Ethereum currently. So 51% attack is if more than half the computer power or mining hash rate on a network is run by a single person or a single group of people, then a 51% attack is in operation. So what can happen with 51% attack is they can basically take over the chain, and then they can introduce software updates and roll back the chain if they like by changing the core code of that blockchain. And that's why 51% attack is such a concern. API, if you hear API, that stands, and that's not a crypto term per se. That's just a technological term used within the world of development. API stands for Application Programming Interface. It's a set of routines, protocols, and tools for building software applications. ASIC. And the ASIC is talking about mining hardware. It's an acronym for Application Specific Integrated Circuit. That's what ASIC is, an Application Specific Integrated Circuit. It's a device designed for the sole purpose of mining cryptocurrency. So you have these companies like Bitmain and others that, not many though, there's not many competitors in this space, but they make purpose-built processors, purpose-built circuits, GPUs, graphical processing units, essentially, but they're called ASICs for mining. And there are cryptos that are ASIC resistant, and sometimes the developers of certain teams will continue to update their code, the way that their mining works, the algorithms that are used, in order to prevent ASIC resistance. Because when a project becomes ASIC mineable, it often makes it more susceptible to a 51% attack. Adam Back. Adam Back is a world-renowned British cryptographer, cypherpunk, and crypto industry figure from the United Kingdom. It's interesting. Some people have speculated, even Charles Hoskinson from IOHK, that Adam Back might actually be Satoshi Nakamoto. And it's interesting because Adam Back also said that Charles Hoskinson is one of the... He would not going in that direction of saying that Hoskinson was Satoshi, but that he's an individual who understands Bitcoin probably better than anyone else, which was quite interesting. Address, well, we know what an address is. An address is a place where cryptocurrency can be sent to and from in the form of a string of letters and numbers. So it's interesting to think about that, though, that you have an address in your wallet and you have a private key. But the private key is really the thing that gives you access to the address that you own, which is on the blockchain, which is where your cryptocurrency is stored. So absolutely crucial not to lose the private key. If you lose the address, it's not that big of a deal because you can just get it back with your private keys. An airdrop. Airdrop is a marketing campaign that distributes a specific cryptocurrency or token to an audience. So airdrops will often happen when you've maybe interacted on a DeFi project or with another, or with a platform, with a coin, and then because you interacted, they'll give you a certain X amount of the coin, right, in that airdrop. Or what also happens is there's been airdrops where Bitcoin holders, somebody forks Bitcoin, creates a new project, and they give everybody an equal amount of whatever they already hold in Bitcoin, or the same with Ethereum. Right? We saw a lot of these with EOS. If you owned EOS, some token would launch and you'd get either the equivalent or some relative proportion of that new token in relation to whatever you held in EOS. So that's an airdrop. Sometimes airdrops also are just done with new projects or doing activities such as creating in social media, activities, posting, sharing, whatever. If you want to follow airdrops, a great site to do it is airdrop.io, and you can just Google if you want. It's not a bad idea sometimes if you're involved in the crypto space to keep an eye on what airdrops are happening. Some of them can be quite significant in terms of the amount of money that can be made. Probably one of the most significant ever was the Uniswap airdrop, which for people who had used the Uniswap platform prior to the coin launch, they received 400 tokens. Some people double that if they had used 2 addresses, or triple if they'd used 3. And that is now worth $12,000 approximately in Uniswap. Algorithm. An algorithm is a process or set of rules to be followed in problem solving or calculating operations, usually by a computer, although humans tend to follow steps algorithmically as well. Let's say doing math or following a recipe. The algorithms usually within crypto have to do with mining, what algorithm is used to solve blocks, and then also might have to do with consensus amongst the nodes, where the nodes all communicate with each other and agree that, yes, this is a legitimate block and we're going to add it to the blockchain. ATH, all-time high, the highest point in price. All-time low, the lowest point in price. We know those. Altcoin. Maybe you've heard the term altcoin. As Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency that captured the world's imagination, all other coins were subsequently termed altcoins, as in alternative coins. Anarcho-capitalism. That's not a term that's being used that much as of late, as it once was, at least from what I've seen. But anarcho-capitalism is a political philosophy originally conceived by American economist Murray Rothbard that has now been embraced by many members of the crypto community. So Murray Rothbard also, if you want to learn more about this, you can find most of what he's written or said on Mises.org. So very closely tied also to the Austrian School of Economics and to libertarianism is anarcho-capitalism. Anti-fragile, a quality attached to an asset that means it performs better when exposed to volatility and shocks. Anti-money laundering, or AML, and we hear about this quite a bit because if you sign up for an account on Coinbase, they're going to take your driver's license. They're going to want to know your address. They're going to want to know your blood type and your mother's maiden name, and they're going to want to know the first girl you kissed. And no, I'm just kidding. It's not that bad yet. But AML and KYC go together. The AML is the anti-money laundering laws and rules and regulations, which really came into being post the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Centers, and post the Patriot Act, which followed that. It's a set of international laws enacted to curtail criminal organizations or individuals laundering money through cryptocurrencies into real world cash. Arbitrage. What is arbitrage? Arbitrage is the practice of quickly buying and selling the same asset in different markets to take advantage of price differences between the market. It's really, really tough to do. I mean, especially with blockchains that don't have fast processing times like Ethereum or Bitcoin. Anything you're doing on those networks is going to take some time. And then if you're trying to go in and out of exchanges, there's that lag with the exchanges and their withdrawals and deposit times. But if you have a method and you have a way, arbitrage can be a profitable thing. So what can happen is you'll have Bitcoin at 55,000 on one exchange and 56,000 on another exchange. Same asset, so you just transfer. You buy with USD the Bitcoin on the $55,000 exchange with the $55,000 price, and you send it over to the other exchange and sell it for $56,000 and make $1,000 on the trade. That's the idea of arbitrage. All right, Ashdraked, the complete loss of a trader's total invested capital, specifically as a result of shorting Bitcoin. You don't want to be Ashdraked. The ask price. The ask price is the minimum price that a seller is willing to accept for an asset. The ask price is also sometimes referred to as the offer price. Astroturfing. What is astroturfing? The practice of disguising marketing campaigns or otherwise sponsored messaging as the unprompted views of genuine community members. Astroturfing. Faking the community activity. Atomic swap. What is an atomic swap? It is the transfer of cryptocurrency from one party to another without the use of an exchange or other intermediary. So this would be Uniswap or 1inch or Pancake Swap. Now we've come to use the term DEX, decentralized exchange, more frequently for this. And before we had those DEXs, though, people were talking about atomic swaps, and there were some wallets that were allowing for that. However, the beauty of the DEXs that have come into being is that they don't require a centralized entity, where before you often needed some sort of... The idea of an atomic swap, though, was to get rid of that, though, and to remove that third party. But it wasn't always actually what was happening behind the scenes, so one had to be careful. Attestation ledger. An attestation ledger is an account book designed to provide evidence of individual transactions. It is generally used to attest that a financial transaction took place or to prove authenticity of transactions or products. Automated market maker, or AMM. An automated market maker, AMM, is a system that provides liquidity to the exchange it operates in through automated trading. Okay, friends, I think that will be enough for today. We went through all of the A's. Tomorrow we'll look at B's, and we'll just continue to cover some of this terminology, and hopes to help bring a little bit of clarity as to what is being said in some of the news articles and on posts and social media, etc. Remember, it is always a great day to stack more crypto. I thank you very much for your time. Please be sure to visit blockthrasher.com, sign up for an account there, and just have an incredible Wednesday today. Love you all. Bye.